Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are and whether you're joining us live or you're actually listening to a recording. We've got a wonderful turnout today. I think it's actually an all-time record. And I trust everyone will get a ton of value out of the sessions today. So let me start by saying the most important thing, thank you for being a customer or a partner of ours. We do sincerely appreciate that, and particularly in these very, very tough times with the global pandemic. Hopefully you'll see from the updates today that Sugar's doing everything we can to ensure we repay that loyalty to you, our customers. So got some really, really exciting news and let's get on with it. So my 30 minutes today is to share some new news with you, to talk about how this new news actually leads to the next frontier in customer experience, and we're really excited about that. And to talk about our road ahead, and obviously to emphasize some of the Sugar differences and some of these differentiators that we're building upon. Okay, it's been an exciting year, 6 months. Obviously, we've had a global pandemic. The world has been different to anything I've ever experienced before, but we still managed to actually attract 140 new customers, which I'm really excited about. Also excited about the fact that in our NPS scoring for our transactional support, we had a 90 plus NPS, which has been consistently 90 plus for a number of years now. And that really is almost unheard of in enterprise software. So super excited about that. We've just completed an acquisition that I'm going to talk to you a lot more about. We've got 18% of new employees to Sugar. So unlike some of the competitors who've taken the opportunity to cut large swathes of people, we've done everything we can to protect our employee base and actually supplement that. Exciting times we had for the 8th consecutive year. We've been the visionary quadrant for the Gartner Magic Quadrant, which is exceptional news. And possibly an even bigger accolade is to be mid-market leader in G2 Crowd. And the reason I say that is because that's actually voted for by you, our customers. So to get that sort of accolade from our customers is something that, you know, really does get me excited. So thank you for that scoring, for making us number one. In turn, you know, we've been growing our commitment to you. We made a commitment back in Boston and reiterated that at the APAC and EMEA events that, you know, we're looking for ways that we can make your journey with Sugar a more positive experience. And so number one, we launched Sugar Club this year, and that was a replacement for Sugar University and Sugar Community. We want to do everything we can to make you successful post-sale. And so far, you know, it's been very, very warmly received. If you're not a member, you need to get on board. But so far, we've had over 1,000 early adopters. They all received a badge. Thank you to them. 27% of the users who have already logged on have never logged on before to our previous community product. And we've had roughly 30% more people on a daily average embracing Sugar Club than we had in our old community. So once again, if you're not on, if your peers at your organization are not on, please encourage them to join. We also launched Voice of the Customer Survey, which is something we've been doing for a few months now. We're doing it in small chunks. If you do receive a survey, please fill it out. You know, we really, you know, what do they say? Feedback's the breakfast of champions. We really do want your feedback in terms of the areas we're doing well and any areas that we can potentially improve. If you haven't received a survey and you want to receive a survey, reach out to your partner, your CSM, or Christopher Pennington, who's our Chief Customer Officer, and he can get you indoctrinated very quickly. We also launched our Customer Advisory Board, and this was a first for Sugar. So it's an intimate grouping of customers across a diverse range of industries as a grouping to provide us feedback on, once again, the things we're doing well and potentially the areas we can improve. So that's been a great outcome. So it's an exciting time to be part of Sugar. And some of the reasons, none more so than our recent acquisition of a company called Node. So we were working away on our own AI strategy and achieving some really good results, but literally the acquisition of Node has jettisoned us probably 2 years forward from where we would otherwise be. So let me walk you through a little bit about Node. It's a company been around for about 6 years. Team of developers, principally in the Bay Area in San Francisco, but also an incredibly talented team offshore in Serbia. They had backing from some very high-profile investors and have been in the news, both business news and other news, on regular occasions. So what they developed was a unique platform that leverages third-party people and company data combined with your own internal CX data to deliver predictions at a level of accuracy that the industry has never seen. So, some of the use cases, how likely a customer is to attrit, as in leave you, the likelihood of a lead actually being qualified, the likelihood of a qualified lead then being actually won, so predictability of sales forecasting. And the whole concept for Node was to essentially make this a service that any company could subscribe to and use their own internal CX data to be able to provide these incredibly accurate predictions. What we've done, is very selfishly, is we've rediverted all of their attention to be 100% sugar focused. So essentially they're going to be focused on sugar use cases for the benefit of our customers and our future customers. Fortunately, they're 100% in AWS. So from an architectural perspective, very, very easy to assimilate into our cloud. And about 30 of the Node engineering team, some of the smartest people in the industry, have come across to join Sugar as part of this. So really exciting. A little bit more about Node. As you can see, based on the deck there, very, very proven platform. They've been used for a whole variety of different use cases and have provided incredible levels of predictability and therefore ROI to different businesses by using this external Node data combined with customers' internal CX or CRM data. So when they came to us, they looked great on paper. We talked to them. They did a presentation, and we thought, this is almost too good to be true. How do we put these guys to the test? And so what we did is we came up with something we called the Ultimate Node Challenge, which essentially was we gave them 6 months old data and said, tell us what's going to happen. Now, they didn't know what was going to happen, but by giving them 6-month-old data, we could actually test their predictability. And ultimately, an AI application is only good as the accuracy of its prediction. So we put them to the test. We gave them 3 different use cases, which they agreed to. One was the propensity for a marketing qualified lead to become sales qualified, the likelihood of a sales qualified lead to be won as new business, and the likelihood for customers to attrit or leave the organization. We gave them the grand total of 24 hours. We gave them our data, not that they knew much about Sugar CRM or our schema or our application. And we said, go off and tell us what's going to happen. And they did, with an incredible level of accuracy. So in terms of the first one, MQL to SQL, they had an accuracy rate of 89%. In terms of SQL, so sales qualified lead, the likelihood to win that, they came back with an accuracy score of 91%, far beyond what we were imagining. And then in terms of customers likely to attrit, which is a use case they're very famous for, they came back with an accuracy rate of 88%. Absolutely phenomenal. And so at this point, we got very, very excited, as you can imagine. So last year, we launched our 4 differentiated pillars, which, one of them was the concept of the time-aware CX platform, something very differentiated in the marketplace. And it involves our event store DB and capturing every single change event that happens to a customer and providing that detailed historical record to provide a true 360-degree view of a customer, time-aware 360-degree view for the first time ever in the CX space. What I love about Node is it actually supercharges all of our differentiators, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on, but particularly the time-aware CX piece. So the time-aware platform was very revolutionary. The messaging resonated with our customers and our prospects and the analysts and media. And it was something very, very different that the industry desperately needed. But we didn't get the full picture. We had the vision in terms of where we wanted to go, but we could rewind history. We could project it forward to be able to provide incredible situational awareness of the present. And our vision was to be able to predict the future. And we were working on that. But what Node's done is fast forwarded that by probably 2 years. So it's given us a crystal ball that we can use to provide incredibly accurate predictions about the future. So it's the missing jigsaw piece of our vision, and you can tell that I am super excited, and I think this can deliver our customers an unfair advantage over their competitors, and that gets me more excited than anything. So we sat down internally and we said, well, this is a completely new paradigm. It's a new frontier in terms of CX. What's a good analogy we can use that everyone, that would resonate with everyone that can underscore this? And so we came up with this concept of high definition CX. Now everyone, well, not everyone, the youngsters possibly not, but I certainly can remember when HD TV first came onto the scene, and it just dramatically changed what was expected and what was acceptable in terms of television. People didn't realize they needed it until they saw it, and then they absolutely had to have it. And I remember distinctly sitting out the front of an appliance store in Australia, just mesmerized with this screen, and immediately my brain was processing, how can I get my wife to sign off on the price tag, because it was pretty expensive. But the difference was, it's all about fidelity. So higher resolution, minimal distortion, and maximum accuracy in terms of like true to life colors. So, this concept of high definition is something that equally applies to business. We think there are a lot of parallels. So it's something you're going to be hearing a lot more about from Sugar. It's high definition CX. And let me walk you through that. So for most companies, no need to adjust your picture. That the view that you've got there, that's the view that most companies have of their customers and their markets and their business. Decidedly low fidelity. And low fidelity view of your business and your customers is obviously not a good thing. And the reasons this happens is because CX systems are typically incomplete, out of date, or just plain wrong. They're fragmented. The information is fragmented across people and processes and systems and applications that all operate independently of one another. And most importantly, they're myopically focused on current state only. And if you have no history of how a customer or the company got to their current state, how can you predict the future? There's virtually no ability to predict the future with any degree of accuracy. So that's the problem with this low fidelity view. If we have a look at this study that was done by Dun & Bradstreet, it further underscores just how bad this situation is. 70% of customer data goes bad annually in some way, not completely bad, but bad in some way. 91% is incomplete. 18% is duplicative, which is possibly even worse, because then you've got everyone looking and pointing and saying, well, what's the version of the truth? What can I trust? And 7% is on businesses which are no longer in business. They're out of business. I mean, it's a really sad state, but no wonder we have such a low fidelity view of our customers. It's all driven by these challenges. So we sat down internally and said, well, what if you're an absolute customer experience leader, you were best in class, in which case you'd probably be using Sugar. But say your CRM was as complete as you could get it, it's consolidated, it's accurate, it's up to date, your processes are airtight, and your people are expertly trained and disciplined, and they're meticulous in the way they interact with your CRM system. We were pondering internally and saying, well, if you had all of that right, you were best in class, what level of accuracy could you achieve? And even more importantly, how complete would your view of the data actually be? And we were theorizing maybe 90% accurate, but probably only 20% complete. Very difficult to guess, but what we do know is that your customer view is only a fraction of the information available beyond the four walls of your business. We know that your understanding is limited to the information your company had the foresight to collect, and is biased towards the data that you started collecting because you decided to when you first implemented your CRM, which could have been years ago. But out there in the big wide world, there's information that exists that describes customer segments with a high likelihood, a high propensity to buy your products, and identifies customers that have a likelihood to churn before they display any external reflections that they are actually going to churn. So it's information that could dramatically impact your business if you had access to it. Impact it both in terms of performance, but also in terms of predictability, which is just as crucial. So let me explain that in a little bit more detail. If we look at this graphic, it shows historical CRM data being a tiny slice of the public data that's available in the big wide world, which is growing at at an incredible pace. So what we know is that AI-based predictions using just your CRM data are going to be somewhat insular and therefore, highly inaccurate. We know that the way to avoid this is to enrich AI training data with external data curated from a variety of public and proprietary sources. And exceptional prediction accuracy can be delivered even if you have incomplete or limited CRM data. What it also means is that predictions can be based on factors that just are not represented in your CRM and shouldn't be represented in your CRM. Everything from weather patterns to GDP data to interest rates to stock markets, all sorts of things that could impact that predictability. You just want to be able to pull those in. You don't want to be able to have to store them in your actual CX data. So what we know from this is that based on all the studies that were done by the Node team, this approach can deliver an 80% higher degree of accuracy than heuristics-based approaches. It's a massive differentiator to the Sugar Node approach. So why do we care? Always a good question to ask, why do we care? Well, low fidelity has a high impact on business outcomes, essentially. You're going to end up with degraded performance. Pretty much every sales and marketing initiative is going to be suboptimal because you don't have the data. You're going to have increased costs trying to get answers to questions that are really hard to find answers to. You're going to have higher churn in your customers because you're not getting the early warning signs that they're disenfranchised or that you're doing something wrong or that they're potentially evaluating competitors. You're also going to have a lack of predictability, which in my mind is just as important. An inability to forecast, and not just sales, but any metric within the business. You're going to have a failure to identify trends, and you're going to have issues which are spotted far too late. And issues that are spotted far too late do a lot more damage than issues that are spotted early. And opportunities that are spotted far too late are typically lost because a competitor has normally jumped on those. So you can think of this high definition approach applied to customer experience as a new standard for customer experience, for CX, one that's helping companies achieve a crystal clear view of their customers, which in turn drives high performance and enables dramatically improved predictability. So in order to do this, you've got to have these enablers, and this is a key differentiator with the Sugar Node approach. Number one, you have to have a time-aware customer experience database. You cannot predict the future without understanding the past. You need to be able to automate the collection, the adoption of data, and find ways to put the tech to use to do all that heavy lifting, to collect the data and process it and analyze it and present it without huge user effort. And then the information does you no good if you can't make sense of it. So you need these deep learning models that can enrich external data and use that in combination with your own internal data. So it's 1 + 1 = 3. The benefit of both gives you this much higher level of predictability. That combined with a full journey suite, market, sell and serve, which obviously is Sugar, plus the interoperability between your CX applications and all of the rest of your enterprise applications, absolutely crucial. And by combining all of these pillars together, it gives us the ability to leapfrog the competition. So high fidelity. High definition is all about high fidelity. And just as HD had a massive impact on TV, HD is going to have a massive impact on CX. It's all about replacing that fragmented, out-of-date and distorted customer view with a sharply focused understanding of both breadth and depth, both from your business, your market, and obviously your customer perspective. And if you can do so, you can dramatically improve your performance, increase revenue, decrease costs, reduce churn. And you can drive predictability, so forecasting the future with AI, all manner of different business metrics. You can identify trends and you can expose and resolve issues very early in the piece. This gives, as I said before, our customers an unfair advantage over their competitors. So how are we bringing this to you, our customers? Well, the beauty of this is that Node's already a proven application running on the same tech stack that Sugar is, so we can move very, very quickly. The first 0 to 3 months, obviously, we're going to be driving awareness, like events like this, but we're going to be figuring out what is the best way to surface these findings within core Sugar, obviously in the cloud, So we're going to be working on that for the first 3 months and working on pilot sites in conjunction with customers. The next 3 to 6 months, you're actually, for everyone who's using Sugar in the Cloud, you're going to start to see these predictability factors just appearing within your software. And Dave is going to be talking a lot more detail in terms of exactly how they're going to appear and when they're going to appear, and how we're classifying sort of, what's going to appear in the standard product versus items that we're going to, potentially package up as more enhanced. We do want to repay the loyalty that you've shown to Sugar by giving you a ton of additional value for what you're already paying. And then the 6 months plus, we want to go after the holy grail items of CX, the massive problem points that people have never been able to solve. And in conjunction with Node and this wonderful team of people, we can do that. So exciting times. We'll keep you abreast of everything that's happening. But as I said, my team will be running you through a lot more detail in terms of how this is going to manifest itself in your product. So I wanted to tell a story. So I always talk about predictability in business. That predictability is just as important as performance. If you only get one of those right, you only get performance right, but you don't get predictability right, shareholder value will be dramatically decreased from a company that can get both of those things right. So I've got a little story to tell you, and it's a parable of two Steves. There was one Steve called Steve Jobs, and on June 29, 2007, he said this. He said, every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. I mean, it was a massive call at the time. And at the time, there was another Steve, also in IT, probably not as insightful as Steve Jobs, but it was Steve Ballmer from Microsoft. And he said, this is the same day, there's no chance that the iPhone is going to get any significant market share. No chance. So just to reiterate that, he said no chance. And we all know what happened. 10 years later, in 2017, Microsoft exited the smartphone market with less than 1% of market share. And at the same time, Apple was taking 86% of the global smartphone profits. So that's the power of predictability. Now, I'm not suggesting Node could have provided that predictability for Steve Jobs. He had the foresight and the vision to see how this would be a reality. And that's something that's very, very special. And that was a paradigm shift in terms of technology. But predictability is absolutely crucial. And if you need me to underscore that, I've got a great study here. And this was over the course of 10 years with public companies. Guru Focus categorized companies into anywhere from 1 bucket to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 in terms of stars based on their level of predictability. So the really highly predictable companies dramatically outperform those with low levels of predictability. So the two are very much intertwined. So those who are 1-star predictability, their average annual gain was 1.1%. And you look at those that had 5 stars, it was 11 times that level of performance. So the two very much do go hand in hand. It's absolutely crucial to be able to drive both predictability and performance. And so how do we do this? We actually believe that predictability drives performance. The two are very interlinked. And if you look at this scenario, we've come up with a number of different use cases in terms of performance, and we've come up with the business metric that would drive that in terms of predictability. So if you can identify target segments to market to that have a higher propensity to buy your product, you'll end up with much better marketing qualified leads, which drives performance. If you have better lead scoring in terms of telling you which leads to prioritize, you're going to get a much better conversion rate. If you have much better upsell, cross-sell product recommendations based on customer needs, you're going to get much better customer lifetime value. And I'm not going to go through them all, but on and on and on across marketing, sell, and service, predictability drives performance. So I want to wrap up the last couple of slides just by driving home our differentiators. And we believe that Node has given us the ability to supercharge our differentiators, our 4 pillars that we've been speaking about. So number 1 is that time-aware customer experience platform. There's no other CX application on the marketplace which does this. And I doubt that anyone will be catching up anytime soon. What Node gives us the ability to do is to use that treasure trove of time-aware information as the fuel to drive far more accurate predictions than anyone else can. No touch information management. The value proposition for time-aware CX implies an enormous amount of data. I mean, we're generating huge amounts of data, and we need tech. We need the tech to actually do the hard work. We need the AI to analyze the data, to form assumptions and test them and automatically improve their models without human intervention. It's that iteration needs to happen behind the scenes. We need AI to cleanse and summarize and categorize CX data computationally with fewer risks for mistakes that you get with human beings involved. We need AI to identify and eliminate unnecessary data and duplicate data and repetitive data or out-of-date data, and we need to organize and store this data without human intervention or effort. This is our no-touch philosophy at its absolute best. And in terms of continuous cloud innovation, the fact that we're both in the same AWS instance, we essentially use AWS to rapidly drive our level of innovation, because we let them look after all the more boring housekeeping elements, if you like. We use 36 different AWS services, and it's increasing all the time, because we want AWS to look after all that back of house security, performance, all of those sorts of things, and we can focus just on the things that you care about when you're engaging with a customer experience vendor. So really, really exciting. And then lifetime commitment to customers. We're always looking at how we can generate lifetime loyalty in our customers. Now, if we can provide a mechanism for our customers to get early warning that their customers are going to be leaving them, and that they can wrap their arms around them and come up with save plays to keep them in the fold, that over time is going to generate customers that are lifetime committed to you, our customers. Now, if we have a system that generates lifetime commitment from your customers, then we're automatically generating lifetime commitment from you, our customers. So really exciting. Node supercharges all of these, all of our sugar differentiators. So in terms of differences, so that's our pillars and how it supercharges our pillars. But how are we different from the competitors? And there are competitors out there dabbling with different AI and with varying levels of failure. We believe our capabilities clearly leapfrog everyone else in the marketplace. And there's a number of reasons why. Node is an incredibly powerful, proven, cloud-based deep learning capability that can deliver incredibly accurate predictions about the future. We put them to the ultimate test, and they came out just astoundingly good. In terms of time awareness, we're the only CX platform with that time-aware underlying platform to fuel these predictions. In terms of data enrichment, what Node brings is this massive and unique repository of people, company, and market data from a wide variety of different public sources to augment and complement your underlying CX data, once again, to drive incredibly accurate predictions about the future. And then embedded delivery. We're trying to democratize AI. So for AI, for most companies, is the domain of the super enterprises, where you've got large teams, really big budgets, long time frames. We're going to surface this power within our standard applications. So you don't need a large IT team. You don't need really deep pockets. You don't have to have years in order to accomplish this. So we're making it available to companies of any size and any technical maturity. And we believe collectively we can deliver an unprecedented level of predictive insight for all companies and deliver you, our customers, an unfair advantage against your competitors. And nothing gets me more excited than that. So there you have it, an incredibly exciting combination. We believe this is the new frontier in customer experience, where companies achieve a crystal clear view and crystal clear fidelity when they're looking at their markets, their business, and their customers. And with Node, our time-aware platform, which already enabled companies to rewind to the past, to have much better situational awareness of the present, now they've got a crystal ball to predict the future, and that's super exciting. So David's going to walk you through in a subsequent session more about a day in the life of and what use cases are going to materialize in what sort of timeframes, and talk more about that. But you are going to be hearing a lot more about high definition CX from Sugar. We're super proud of what we've got and what we're delivering, and we hope you're as excited as we are. So big thank you. Thank you for attending. Thank you for being customers and partners of ours. We do sincerely appreciate it. And we're always looking for ways that we can make you better businesses, and we can deliver that unfair advantage versus your competitors. So you thrive while they don't. So thanks very much. And we look forward to Q&A at the end of the day. Thank you.